Stock then from the Ferris pack itself. Uttam Galva is a stock that we're talking about. The stock is fairly excited in today's trading session. We have with us Mr. Ankit Miglani, the director of Uttam Galva, who joins us live on the show. Hi Ankit, thanks so much for joining in. Before we get to the operations of your business, Ankit, just want to ask you, have you signed any kind of MOA with POSCO? Could you tell us which part of the business has got into this MOA?
Hi, thanks for having me, Nigel. Well, we have signed an MOA with POSCO to set up, to expand our existing operating company, which is Uttam Galva Metallics Limited. This company currently has a capacity of 0.5 million tons of hot metal pig iron. With POSCO coming in as an equity partner, we will take this facility to 1.5 million tons of hot rolled coil production. The product that we are producing will be specialized ultra thin hot roll coil, which most of it will go in as an end product rather than an intermediate product. So it will be a significantly different product mix from what the rest of the industry is producing. In addition to this, it will be proprietary POSCO technology, which will be the first project of its kind outside Korea. And this will produce pig iron at a significantly lower cost than the traditional blast furnace route. Okay. So it's quite an exciting project to be a part of.
Okay. But Ankit, this MOA which you've signed with POSCO is for an unlisted entity, Uttam Galva Metallics, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So what will be the benefit to the listed company, Uttam Galva?
Well, they're both separate legal entities. All business will be on standalone basis. Of course, this opportunity does give the group an opportunity to absorb superior technology from POSCO, and of course that will be an asset across the group. However, there will be no transactions of any sort which will directly benefit Uttam Galva Steel Limited beyond that which it could buy from the open market.
All right, Ankit, let's get this right then. I think the unit that you're going to be, you're looking to hike your capacity from around 500,000 tons to around 1.8 million tons, that will be producing HRC, right?
That is correct.
All right, and the listed entity Uttam Galva Steels requires that HRC as an input. So what is the requirement of Uttam Galva Steel's listed entity? And also could you tell us what's POSCO's requirement, if you have any details on that as well? Because then, in fact, it'll be an integrated from the same group.
Absolutely. UGSL in Khopoli consumes about 1.2 million tons of hot rolled coil annually. POSCO's facility in Mangaon, which is also a cold rolling and galvanizing facility, consumes about 2 million tons of hot rolled coil annually. Clearly, a capacity of 1.5 million tons of hot rolled coil is not a big volume to market. We have sufficient of a captive market to take care of that. Clearly, given the fact that both promoters of the company will have downstream applications for the hot rolled coil, and we can obviously have a first right of refusal based on a mutual understanding. So the raw material linkage will be a strengthened factor that will reduce the risk from the business plan of UGSL. However, all transactions will be on arm's length basis. And the second is that our focus on the product mix for this facility in metallics will be a very high-end ultra thin gauge hot rolled coil. And the bulk of this will be sold on an as hot rolled coil as an end product, replacing cold rolled products. So the value addition on this will be significantly higher if this is sold in the open market.
Okay. So for the listed entity, the benefit will be technology, and it reduces the risk of unavailability of a raw material. Since you will be buying it from at an arm's length or in the open market, we shouldn't expect that your raw material cost will come down, and therefore it could be beneficial to your margins?
You're absolutely correct. Since it will be at an arm's length basis, it will not affect our raw material cost. It will take away some of the risk associated with the availability of the raw material, but it will not affect the company commercially.
All right, Ankit, you were talking about producing more amount of value-added products. So could we see margins go up? Could we see revenues go up of the listed entity?
That is an ongoing process. As far as the listed entity is concerned, we have an ongoing program where we are working on reducing costs, improving our cost structure, improving our product mix, improving our geographical reach. That is a constant endeavor that goes on. This quarter, of course, has been quite painful because we were hit by, one, the safeguard duty on hot rolled coil, which came very unexpectedly. And that gave us a major hit on our raw material costing. And the second is that the US market initiated an anti-dumping investigation which significantly hurt our export market. So this has been a tough quarter overall, but the process for improvement of EBITDA and improvement of volumes is an ongoing process which we will continue to improve going forward.
All right, Ankit, one final question before we let you go. You're talking about that safeguard duty that didn't help too much. Now there's talk about a minimum import price. So what's your take on that, given that you're using HRC? So what's your take on that? What's the current difference between imported HRC, the domestic HRC, and what's your take if in case the minimum import price is imposed?
Well, the major problem today is not the fact that there's a difference between the price of imported hot rolled coil and domestic hot rolled coil. The major issue today is the fact that the finished product is cheaper than hot rolled coil in the Indian market because there is safeguard duty on hot rolled coil, but no duties for the finished products like cold rolled, galvanized and pre-painted steel, which is the major concern because that takes away the margin, it distorts the entire business. The fact that they are potentially going to implement a minimum floor price for imports will be executed across the entire product mix, which includes galvanized, color-coated, pre-painted, cold-rolled, everything. And this will allow the margins to stabilize in the domestic market across the value chain. Today is not a realistic situation because the raw material is taxed and the finished product is not.
Okay, Ankit, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining in. By the way, let's just pull up the